Okay then, guys. This first question, it says, just be careful to order things in correct quantities. So that's the amount. The following table shows the items and quantities that Sarah has ordered. Place an X that do not seem sensible. So if we just quickly scan them, we know that it's in kilograms, grams, milliliters. So my advice would be try and remember that 1 kilogram is the same as 1,000 grams. But in terms of a real life example, what weighs 1 kilogram would be a bag of sugar, okay? So it gives you some sort of understanding of what that feels like, all right? And then if you think of 2 litres, so 2 litres is roughly a bottle of Coke, the big bottles, okay, the real big ones. And then you think of about 500 ml, maybe just be a small bottle of water, okay? So I've written them down there just to give you a bit of a heads up. So if we have a look at these, 50 kilograms of mushrooms, imagine 50 bags of sugar, but in terms of mushrooms, well, that's ridiculous. So that's a cross. The next one, a bag of sugar, 1 kilogram. I just told you that one, so that's sensible. Tomato sauce, 350 litres. Well, a big bottle of Coke is 2 litres, so that's ridiculous, 350 litres. Potatoes, 5 grams. Well, 5 grams, if you think 1 kilogram, which is the same as 1,000 grams, you wrote it here. 1 kilogram, same as 1,000 grams. Potatoes, 5 grams. Well, 5 grams is really, really, really light. So that would be ridiculous because potatoes are fairly heavy. Sorry, that one's already done for you. Chocolate bar, 100 grams. Yep, that's sensible. Bottle of vinegar, 250 milliliters. Yep, happy with that. And then the last couple, butter, 500 grams. Yep, that's fine. Remember, just think of a bag of sugar. Milk, 4 litres. Yeah, I can see why you might put a cross there, but think of a big family. Washing up liquid, 500 litres. Washing up liquid lasts ages, so that would be ridiculous. In terms of the marks, guys, there's 4 there in total. For all 4, you need all 8 correct, and then 7 correct, you get 3 marks. 6 correct, 2 marks. 5 correct, 1 mark. Okay, for this question here, it says, during a recent game, the number of spectators in each stand. Okay, so it tells you the west stand, that's that one there, had 7,345, 6,339 in the east, and then 4,991 in the south. And then what it also tells you is all of the away supporters, which is 1,093 of them, were in the final stand, the north, okay? Question says, showing all your workings, calculate the total. So hopefully you now know we need to add them up. Giving your answer correct to the nearest 100. So we're going to add them up first, then round. So hopefully you know to use your column method. So let's have a little look at that. Okay, let's check all this is correct. All right, and hopefully it is. So we've got 19,768. Okay, so 1 mark for trying to add it, 1 mark for that answer correct. But now it says we've got to round it. So for our 3rd mark to the nearest 100, you're going to be rounding this 7, and that 7 would obviously bump up to an 8 because the number on the right of it is 5 or more. Okay, so 19,800 is closer to 800 than it is 700. Okay, guys, in this question, it's a bit of probability. So Jay and Alex design a game for the school. They each have a spinner. Okay, we don't really need to know that now. So here's a spinner, so we know they got to put numbers on there. The game is based on the probability of obtaining certain numbers when it's spun. Jay decides that she wants to place numbers on her spinner that will give an even chance. So if it's an even chance, it's half a chance. So if there's 4 numbers on there, the only way it can be an even chance of them being greater, which obviously means bigger than 4, is 2 of the numbers you put on your spinner have to be bigger than 4. Okay, so it doesn't matter what you've written, as long as 2 of the numbers, in mine I've written 5 and 6, they are bigger than 4, and then the other 2 have got to be smaller than 4, okay? If you've got 4 included in one of them 2, then that will also be okay. Similarly, with the next question, Alex decides that he wants to place numbers on the spinner that will make it certain. So if it's certain, it's 100% chance it's going to happen. And they've got to be less than, so you can't have 3. So you have to write 4 numbers now, which are all less than 3, okay? So here we have it, 4 numbers less than 3, 0, 1, 2, and minus 1. Okay, for this one here, the jury shot which is to create boxes. So if it's boxes, we're thinking cubes or cuboids. Okay, could be another shapes, but that's probably the simplest one to start with. And then here it says, which one of the following patterns cannot be made to use to make a cube? So you think of a cube, it's going to have 6 faces. So we know they've all got to have 6 faces. Okay, and they do. But why is it this one then? Well, if you think about it, look for a pattern between this one, and this one. There are 4 in a row. There has to be 4 in a row because they would fold to make the front, back, top and bottom, and then the other 2 here, 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 here would fold to make the side. Unfortunately, this one wouldn't, okay, because we got 3 and a 3. Okay, for the next one, the net of a box is shown below. So the net means the folded out version. Hopefully you know that. What is the name of the 3D shape made from this? Well, it's got a triangle in it, so that's going to be a bit of a clue. So if we look at all these, it can't be a cuboid, it can't be a cone, because a cone's obviously circles. Sphere is again, it's just a ball. And then a cylinder would have a circle in it. So nice easy one there for 1 mark. And the last one, the shape of another gift box is a triangular, is a triangular based pyramid. Okay, so it just means at the bottom of it, there's a triangle on it. Which of the following would it be? From the top view. So effectively, that's the bird's eye view. If you're looking down, like what my camera's doing now. So if we were looking down from it, if the base of it is a triangle, it would have to be that one. This one has a square on the base. I could see why you would go with this one, but don't forget that would be where they meet up in the sky because it is a 3D shape. Okay, a bit of negative numbers here, guys. Again, hoping we're all right with this. If you struggle with negative numbers, I like to sketch just a number line, either left to right or up and down. And I know anything this side would be minuses, and anything that side would be positives, okay? So the player with the lowest score, you need to read it properly, the lowest score wins. So complete the table below to show the names and scores of the players in first. So obviously first is going to be this one here, -7. Okay, so in that one, cross them off I would while you do it. Next, well, if you started at -7, obviously you go -6, but there's nobody there, -5, nobody there, -4, nope, -3, yes. So that's the next one, which is already done for you. -2 then is the next one, Jenkins, and then so on, okay? So hopefully you've got the 3 marks there. If you've got 2 of them in the right place, then you get 1 mark. 2 marks, sorry. So there's 1 mark for each one. Out of the 4. What was the difference between the scores of the players in second and sixth? So we've got to find the gap between second and which is -3, and then sixth, which is 5. So again, if you sketch your number line, second had -3. All the way up here, then 0's in the middle. We've got 5, so then that's why it's 8, because you need 3 to get you to 0, and then another 5 to get you up to 8. 1 mark. The last one, how much less would H. Smith need to score in order to win the championship? So H. Smith, let's have a look. H. Smith is on 8. So to win the championship, what it's asking us is to get us from 8, which is what he's on. Again, I'll sketch our number line. The person who's currently winning is on -7. So how much does this person need to get me all the way lower than -7? Well, you would need 8 to get you there. And then you'd have to go past 7 to get you to -8. Because to win, you'd obviously have to have a lower score than -7. And the gap between 0 and -8 is 8 again. So 8 and 8 together would be 16. Okay then, guys. Right. Second chance of this, because I messed it up the first time. What I'm going to do is, it does say on this question now that we need to find out when they could go, and it's got to be the latest possible date. Now, I would use the calendar to help you. However, as you can see on mine, it's a little bit scruffy where I made an error, so which is good. I'll talk about the error I made. I looked at this S on the end and thought it meant Sunday, but it was silly of me. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday is actually at the beginning, okay, of each month. Of each, in the month. It's the first column. So I actually made an error. I crossed out the wrong things because I was looking at the wrong column. So I'll go back to that, but let's try and make sense of it. He can only go on a Sunday. All right, so what you could do, if you're going to do it slightly differently, is write down all of the Sundays, okay? But before I do that, I'm just going to make a little note over here. Only Sundays. Chloe cannot go during the last 4 months of the year. Well, the last 4 months of the year are obviously December, November, October, September. So they're gone, okay? So I'm not worried about them. In fact, I'll hide them now. What I do know is then, Martin, if you just go back to the top, Martin works on the first 3 Sundays of each month. Well, that's nice, because if Martin works on the first 3 Sundays of each month, we know that potentially there's only going to be 1 Sunday we can look at on each month. Okay, so what I am going to do is write down all of those last, for each month, each of these months all the way up to August. I'm just going to look at my calendar and write down the last Sunday. So the first 3 Sundays he works, so 1, 2, 3. So if you're working 1, 2, 3, then I know I can write down Sunday the 18th. Okay, so that's one date. Then for the next month, I can write down 1, 2, 3, so Sunday the 22nd. Oh, loads of ways you can do this. Next one, Sunday the 1, 2, 3, Sunday the 22nd again. April, I can write down the 26th. May, I can write down 1, 2, 3, so the 24th. June, the 28th, nearly there, and then July and August, the 19th, so it'll be the 26th in July, and the 1, 2, 3, so the 23rd, so 26th and 23rd. 26th, 23rd. So already I've narrowed it down now to these dates. If we keep reading the information now. Robert cannot go during the school holidays. And school holidays, it does tell you here, is represented by grey. Okay, so if we go back to our calendar, let's have a little look. Which of these dates are going to be in grey? January, no, that's fine. February, is that? Yes, it is. So Feb is now gone. We can get rid of him. In fact, I'll do it in a different colour so you can see. We can get rid of, then we go to March. No, March is fine. April is fine for now. January, what can you notice, is in grey, so we can scribble out, so not January, May is in grey, so we'll scribble out May. June, is June in grey? No, it's not, so we can keep that. July, and then August, as you can see, is both in grey, so that's July and August gone. So if I hide that, what are we left with? We've got June the 28th, April the 26th, March the 22nd. Last bit, all of his friends agree that the months of November, December and January are unsuitable. Well, out of these 3 months, January we know is unsuitable. So these are the 3 different dates we are left with. Okay, so it's going to get you up to 4 marks all the way to there. But now it says, what will the latest date be? Well, the latest date is obviously out of these June the 28th. Okay, easier if you use the calendar and you don't make the mistake I made, but the final answer is June the 28th, okay? So you are picking up marks. If you crossed off the last 4 months, you get marks. If you crossed off, so basically, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of different statements, you're picking up marks if you've done some of these statements, but obviously for the full marks, the 5th mark is showing this month here. Okay guys, quite a bit of information here. You do get 2 extra marks at the top, it says there. So that's just for your layout. So it's only 4 marks for the maths. So try and get those 2 bonus marks as well. Right, if you read the information, this here is the cost. The Jones family invited their friends, the Williams, the Phillips. So we know we got 3 families. The Jones family have a caravan and stayed for 3 nights. So the first thing you should want to do is look at 3 nights. Caravan is £16 per night. So you should have done 16 times 3. That's the first thing I've done. 48 quid. Obviously use Napier's bones if you need to. I'm getting marks here because I'm writing Jones family and writing the pound sign. Next one, the Williams family have a motorhome and stayed for 1 night. Motorhome 1 night, so you could do 15 times 1 or just notice that it's only 1 night. Okay, so what have I done then? Here I've just written £15 times 1 night. The Phillips family stayed in a tent. The total fee for 3 pictures was £99, okay? So you should get 1 mark already now, but now this is a bit trickier because the total fee is £99, we've got to work backwards. So the obvious thing I'd want to do now is add up what I've already got so far, the Jones family and the William family. So the Jones family and the Williams family add up to £63. So that's going to get you a second of the 4 marks. But notice I'm using pound signs, I'm not writing words, I'm not writing sentences, I'm just showing it clearly. If the total fee was £99 and the 2 fees added to 63, it would now make sense to find out what the difference is. So you're going to get a mark for trying to take them away. And that £36 is going to be the cost of the last family, the Phillips family. So what do we know about the Phillips family? They stayed in a tent. And what we do know is a tent was £12 a night. So if a tent was £12 a night and the Phillips family cost them 36 quid, I need to do £36 divided by 12 or something similar. 12 times 3 would get you to 36. So we know that the Phillips family stayed for 3 nights. So that's your 4th mark there. Okay? Okay. Well, they try your best to help you out in this one, guys. They're quite nice about it. The reading at the end of the period for the electricity is this number here. The reading at the beginning of the period is this number here. So obviously this is slightly bigger. What you need to understand is when you get charged, you don't get charged for all of this number. You get charged for the gap between the two. Okay? So they've already, they've given you the information here to kind of help you out, which is why it's quite nice. So the reading at the end of the period, is what you write in first. Reading at the beginning of the period, they've already done for you, so you put that in second. Well, how are you going to find out what's being used? Well, it's the difference between the two. So you should be using a column method to take these away. Okay, and the difference between the two is 250. You could just use the column method here if you wanted. 7, 7, 0, 9 take away 4 is 5. 5 take away, the 1 take away 9 can't do, so you borrow. 11 take away 9, 2. 4 take away nothing. Okay, 4 take away 4 is nothing. 6 take away 6, nothing. Okay, so that's 1 mark then for that. Next bit says cost of the units used in pounds. So where have I got £75 from? Well, if we could just go back up here, the cost of the electricity used was 30p per unit, and there was a standing charge of 25.34 for the 3-month period. Complete the following tables below. So cost of the units in pounds. What we know is the cost of the units was 30p per unit, and there was a standing charge. So we need to do 250 times 30p. So I'll show you how I done that. That's where the 75 has come from. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do 25 times 3, but use Napier's bones if you have to. 25 times 3 is 75. 2 zeros then, I'll put them back in. That's in pennies, so I'll divide it by 100 to change it to pounds, okay? So that's where my 2 marks is. So if you've tried to multiply, then great, but the second mark, you've got to have £75 because it says in pounds there. The standing charge then, they told us is £25.34. So to find out my total cost now, it's going to be these two added together. Again, use a column method if you have to. £100.34p. Okay, so for the 4th mark is for that final answer. Okay, a little bit of a tricky one this, guys. 10 people work at Dragon Fitness. One of these people with £1,000 a week. All of the other 9 people earn the same weekly wage. So we know 9 have the same pay, and 1 person has £1,000. So that's pretty decent wage a week. Out of the 10, we don't know what they add up to yet, okay? Because we don't know what these 9 people had. But what we do know is the mean wage of all these people is £280. So what does that mean for the mean wage? So how do you find the mean? You would add up the 10 people's numbers, you'd add them up, and then we divide by 10 because there was 10 people there. So something divided by 10 has given us the mean of £280. So we need to find out what did they add up to. So if we added up all their numbers, then we divided by 10, it took us to 280. So the first thing I need to do is reverse it and actually multiply to find out what they all added up to. So I've done 280 times 10, which gets you the 1 mark, and £2,800. But remember, one of these people earned £1,000, the other 9 had the same. So for your second mark, you're going to subtract the 1,000. So that means the last 9 people earned 1,800. So what am I going to do then? Well, if 9 people earn 1,800, I'm going to divide by 9 to find out what everybody else earned per month. So you could use a bus stop, or 18 divided by 9 is 2, put the 2 zeros in after. £200 per week. So now then it's nice and easy. One person earns £1,000, the 9 people earned £200. Fill out the gap, the table below for the median and the mode. Well, it's got to be 200 for both. The mode is most, 200, And the median, well, if you put them all in order, 9 of them would all be 200 anyway. Next one, complete the following sentence. The average wage of people working at Dragon Fitness is most typically 200. Why have I gone with 200? Well, that's because 5, 4, 9 people in total earn £200 a week. So that's got to be typically that. The reason why, the mean is skewed by one person's earnings, and the mean. So basically, all you had to explain was one person earned £1,000, the rest all earned the same. So as long as you said something along those lines, or you could have then just given the definitions of the mode and the median. Mode is the one that occurs the most. Median is the middle. First thing you need to realise with this, guys, is that this top half is when you're travelling there. This bottom half is when you're going home. So we can almost ignore that bottom half for now. The question below says, if you can't see it, it's by there. If Caris leaves real after 9, what is the earliest time she arrives in Blaenau? So if she arrives at after 9, this is the first train she could get. So that means she gets to Llandudno at 9:43. Well, if you're there at 9:43, the next one after 9:43 is 10:28. And what time does the 10:28 train arrive? Obviously 11:30. Okay, 1 mark. Right then, using this information for the next question, let's just hide those answers. Caris plans to be at the railway station. Zoom out. So we're looking over by here now. Caris plans to be at the railway station by 5 p.m. to begin her return journey home. So if we know it's her return journey home, we're now looking at the bottom half. So all I'll do is I'll just show you the bottom half, okay? That's all we're looking at now is this one. I'm not bothered about the rest. And then, how much time in hours and minutes would it take her to travel back from the time she leaves here to the time she arrives at the station? So she's going to be in the station by 5 p.m. So if she's going to be in the station by 5 p.m, the train she's getting is this one here. So she's getting this one here. That gets to Llandudno. That's 58 minutes. Okay, so first thing we need to write down is that that train is going to be 58 minutes. Okay, that arrives at 18:35. Well, 18:35, the next available train here would be 18:39. So what's the gap between 18:35 and 18:39? Obviously 4 minutes. So I've written by there, 4 minutes to wait, because we want to find out the total time. Then we get on this train. How long is this train taking? It's only 16 minutes. So I'm going to write down the 16 minutes. And to find out how long it all took, we will obviously add them up. So to get all of that, that's 3 marks for getting you all the way to 78 minutes. Obviously, if you've written these numbers down, you're going to pick up 2 marks. The question did say hours and minutes. So we need to now write that in hours and minutes. It's 1 hour and 18 minutes. Okay. Okay, guys, for this question here, all right, this is almost a bit pointless, but it does help you get your head around. 2 of the rooms are doubled, 2 twins, 2 singles. And as you can quite clearly see, room 1 and 2 are doubles, room 3 and 4 are twins, room 5 and 6 are singles. So when you're on the next page, do that. Separate it. Make it a bit easier for yourself, okay? So you now know doubles can only go here, twins here, singles here. That's a nice piece of advice. All right, then it's just working through. So it's quite a nice question, this, for 4 marks. Sasha and Mia want to share a twin room for the 6th and the 7th. So I know if I look at twin room now, I should have Sasha and Mia for the dates of 6th and 7th. So let's just double check that. And I'll just circle them so we know we're on the right lines. 6th and 7th, twin rooms, Sasha, Mia, great. I'll tick that off at the top, and then I'll just colour this in so I know I've checked it, okay? Obviously, you could have put them here, that's fine. Mr. and Mrs. Jones want a double room for the 5th. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones, either one of these two, but a double room for the 5th. And there it is. So I'm going to cross that one off and then tick it off at the top. Notice I'm ticking them when I've done. Flavia wants a single room for the 5th and the 6th. So single is all the way over here. Flavia, 5th and 6th. Is that in line? Yes, it is. Lovely jubbly. I'll scribble them off so I know they're done. Obviously, you could have written them two there. So don't worry if you have. Mr. and Mrs. Evans want a double room for themselves and a twin room. So this is a bit trickier. Mr. and Mrs. Evans want a double room for themselves and a twin room for the 5th, 6th and 7th. So we know they've got to take up the full. And this, so Mr. and Mrs. Evans, double room. The only one I got left is this one now because I've used this one. And they're in the 5th, they're in the 6th and they're in the 7th. Lovely, that's sorted. But their sons want a twin room. And for the same nights. So where are their sons? I've written them there. Okay, so 6th, 5th, 6th and 7th. Lovely, I've done that one. Again, I'll take it off at the top. Their daughter, Helith, will join them, but she's only coming on the 6th and 7th, and she requires a single room. So if we go over here, what have I got left? Well, I've obviously already put Flavia here. So 6th and 7th for Helith, and then, however you pronounce it, and then the last two. Sorry, take that one off, that's done. And what's the last one I got left? Mr. and Mrs. Igorson want a double room for the 6th and 7th. So double room, 6th and 7th. As you could see, I did have these two spare because Mr. and Mrs. Jones could only go Roni in on the 5th. Okay, and there I am, I'm done. And then just don't forget to use a mark scheme below to check how many marks you may or may not have. Okay, for this question here, it says the owner used a calculator. Okay, so this bit's quite nice. 7 cereal bars, 99p each. 5 pairs of socks, £33.95 each. 3 sweaters, £7.49. Says, so you know you've added them up. You know you've taken away from how much money you've had. It just says, how could you check with an efficient method? So, because it's saying how could you check with an efficient method, it wants you to notice that these are really close to numbers which you can make easier. So I could make this £1, I could make this £4, and I could make this £7.50. So that's going to get you your first mark for noticing that. All right. Then what I'm going to do is nice and easy. Well, it's 7 times. So what I've done over here. Okay, I'll just hide some of these. What have I done to get £49.50? Well, all I've done is 7 times £1 because I know there was 7 cereal bars at £1. I've done 5 times £4 because I rounded that up to £4. And I've done 3 times £7.50 because I rounded this up to £7.50. That's where I've got £7 from £20, £22.50. 3 sevens, 21, add the 350p's. So £49.50 then is going to get you another mark. But what you've got to remember is you rounded all of these up. So because I rounded 7 cereal bars up, 1 penny, I need to take off 7 pennies. And I rounded up 5 socks, 5 pennies. So I need to take off 5 lots of 5 pennies. And then similarly here, I rounded up 3 sweaters, 1 penny. So I need to take off 3 lots of 1 penny, which is what I've done over here. Okay, so all of this together now, noticing this, is going to get you third mark. 7p, 25p and 3p. I've added them up to give me 35 pence. So now what I need to do is actually take off the 35p from the £49.50 because we did round up, which meant we'd be overcharged. So what do we notice? Well, the £49.50 take away 35p means it actually cost £49.15, okay? So if your fourth mark is for showing that that was your actual answer. Okay, now I did go one step further already here, but actually I've already answered question B for you. £50 is how much money they had. Where did I get that from? Right at the top of the question. 2 £20 notes and a £10 note is obviously 40 quid plus 10, which is 50 quid. So 50 quid take away £49.15. The gap between is actually 85 pence. So did Thomas receive the correct change? No, he never, unfortunately. So you had to show the 85p for that mark. Okay, for this one here, Billy and Sean are going to collect the measurements of leaves. Why have they agreed to use the longest length and the longest width of it? Well, if obviously you're going to do some sort of experiment, you've got to be consistent. So all you have to write is consistent or make a fair comparison. Okay? Doing it in the same way, anything like that for that 1 mark. Okay, we've got Billy's scatter diagram here. And what I believe we need for the next question will also be Sean's. So let's get that up. Okay. Who found the longest leaf? Okay, why have I gone with Sean? So length, you've got to notice is length is at the top. So if we're looking for the longest, we've got to look for the highest dot. This one's quite high here, but as you can see, this one is even higher. So I'm not bothered about Billy's scatter diagram now. We'll zoom right in. Sean, that's 1 mark. Why 10.4 then you've got to write. How do you know it's going up in 0.4? So be really careful, guys. If you notice, between 10 and 8, there'd be the number 9. Similarly, between here, 7, 5. So be really careful with the scale, 3 and 1. So it's obviously going up in 0.2s. So 2 little squares up is going to be 10.4, not 10.2. Okay. It says 1 mark each there, but you have to get them both for the 1 mark. only one of the two boys collected all of his leaves from the same tree. Who was this? Well, quite clearly, if you look at Billy's, they're all really close together. If you look at, Billy's is all over the place. Sean's are really close together. So quite clearly, the person who collected them from the same tree would be Sean. Why? Because it's written some it's written some really fancy words here. I would literally just write Sean because it shows a positive correlation, or the width and the length were very similar amongst all the trees, all of them. Okay, draw a line of best fit. As you can see, I've already done that. When you draw a line of best fit, you've got to go through half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's half on that side of the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Half on that side of the line. Great. You could be allowed a roughly 8 and 6 split, but I would always aim for half. 1 mark. Sean realises he has one more leaf, which was not included on a scatter diagram. The length of the leaf is 8.5. So you have to do this now. You have to go to 8.5. Careful, because some of you may have gone to 9 on accident. If you have, you've lost the mark. You draw a straight line across. You have to draw it on there, guys. Straight line down, and it's got me to 7. All right. Okay. Oh, I've actually written 7.1, but you'll be allowed a little bit of leeway, providing your line there is perfect. Okay. Okay, guys, in this one, you've got all these ingredients, and they make 4 pancakes. That's the first thing you need to notice. Useful information is 4 ounces is approximately 110 grams. All right, okay, well, we know that's there for us. Great, we might not need it, but probably going to if they're giving it to us. Using recipes shown above, calculate the quantity of plain flour needed to make 48. So we need to make 48. We know the ingredients for 4. Okay, we're only focusing on flour, but before we even start with that, we need to know that if this makes 4 pancakes, we need to times by what to get to 48. So 4 times what is 48? Well, we need to make 12 lots more of the ingredients, okay? So whatever we do now, we know we need 12 times more. So you're gonna get 1 mark for showing 12. Remember now, we're only focusing on flour. So I need to do 55. That makes 4 times 12. 54 times 12, okay, whoever's working's done here, they've done 55 times 10 and then added on. Regardless, whichever way you do it, guys, 660. My advice would just use Napier's bones, okay? Really, really quick, healthy method to use. And then, now I know that I got 660 grams. I've now actually got to change these grams to ounces. So we're going to use this approximation. 4 ounces is approximately, so that means 4 ounces is pretty much the same as 110 grams, which is why I've written that down there. But we've actually got 660 grams. So all I've done is lay it out directly below it, and 660 grams what I need to get to. How many 110s would get me to 660? It's actually quite nice, it's 6 of them. So what I had to do was times 4 ounces, that's as ounces, not 40, by 6. So your overall answer would be 24 ounces for your 3rd mark. Nearly there, guys, power through. In the supermarket, same brand of shampoo. What do you notice straight away? They're in different measurements. So I'm already thinking they're going to ask me best value for money. Let's have a little look. Which bottle of shampoo offers the best value for money? Cracking. Well, whenever you've got best value for money, you cannot compare them unless the quantities are the same. So you have to make these the same. So you could keep adding 800, 800, 300, 300, 300 until you get to the same number. But the easiest way to do it, I personally think, is find out 100 ml. So for the large bottle, how am I going to find 100 ml? Well, what do I divide 800 by to get to 100? Well, 8. Just split it up into 8 parts. So I've used a bus stop. Okay, I've 1.28. I've lined up my decimal points. 8 into 1 doesn't go. Carry the 1. 8 into 12 goes once. Remaining 4. So 16 pence. Okay, so what I know for the large bottle is it is 16p. So my advice would be now, if you're struggling, pause it, watch. And then have a go at the small one. But for the small one, you're going to be dividing by 3 to find 100 ml. Again, use a bus stop. 15p is my answer. 3 into 0 doesn't go. 3 into 4 once, remainder 1. 3 into 15 5 times. So which one's cheaper? Quite clearly the small bottle. Why? Because that was 15p for every 100 millilitres. This was 16p for every 100 millilitres. So the small is better value for money. Your 4th mark is for actually showing this, writing that answer down there. Okay? You will get marks if you've tried to make these quantities the same as well. Okay. Last, but most certainly not the least, guys. Right then, the Baron of Skenrith Castle from White Castle. So if you want to find out the bearing between two places, you have to join them up. I know I've already done it, but I'm going to show you how I did it. So Skenrith Castle from White Castle. So I'll draw a line from Skenrith and White to join them up, like so. Because I'm going from White Castle, I know I need to measure from here. So I'm only going to zoom in there now. Now, what you need to remember with bearings is, the first thing is you always measure north. Okay, I've written it right on the side over here. You always measure north. The second thing is you always measure in a clockwise direction. And the third thing is there must be 3 digits in your answer. So here's my north line. As you can see, I already drew it. If I'm measuring in a clockwise direction, and trying to ignore all these other lines on there, all I need is this angle here, which I'm going to colour in green. Okay, I need the size of that angle. So I get my protractor, I line it up, make sure the dot is where this part meets. That's not very good at the moment though, because it's not lined up. So I'm going to turn it until north goes through 0, like so. Then I'm going to zoom down. Now, am I going to use the inside or the outside? Well, if you're starting from north, that's got to be 0. So you obviously start from the outside numbers. And where does it take me to? As you can see, my green line goes through 64. Okay, try and move down a bit. It goes through 64. So why did I write 064? Well, the third thing, as I did say, in bearings, you've got to have 3 digits. So hence why I wrote a 0 in there. You would have been allowed something slightly smaller than 64 or slightly bigger. Similarly then, exactly same thing for White Castle, but it's a bit of a harder one to measure. So White Castle from Grosemont. So this time it's from here to here. So I draw a straight line. We know we need our north line because you always measure from north. And we know we measure clockwise. So I now need the size of all of this green angle. And why is that quite tricky? Well, I'm hoping you're thinking, because this only measures 180. So the easiest way to do it is, remember, all of it, if I just colour in this side, try and make it a bit easier to see, all of this together is a full circle and makes 360. So my advice would be measure the smaller angle, because we've got a protractor which only goes to 180. So this time I'm going to use the inside numbers, because the inside numbers start at 0. And I'm going to have a look where it goes through. So if I have a little look, mine goes through 160. Let's have a look. 166, do you reckon? It's quite hard reading upside down. No, that's a lie. 162. So I know this angle around here is 162 degrees. But remember, bearings, you need the clockwise angle. So I'm going to take away 162. Zoom all the way out. I'm going to take away 162 from 360 degrees. Okay. Tokens 5, 10, 8. Can't do that. 2, 15, 9, 1. 198 I got there. Previously 196, but again, you would be allowed a bit of a leeway, and as you can see, 198 is in there. Done.